Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be checking out a band who I know but I've never listened to on this channel before, which is Asian Kung Fu Generation. Really good band. Every time I hear them I kind of enjoy what they do. My favourite song of theirs, and it partly comes in with the video, was the brilliant video where it's got the synchronised dancers in the swimming pool and then the lobster comes up from underneath the swimming pool. Giant lobster starts dragging them down. So this is a band who can do weird, but they also have like a real flair for doing your sort of mainstream pop rock. They have an easygoing sound, but they have a good attitude. So I'm interested in seeing where Asian Kung Fu Generation are going with this. I was told by one of our listeners, hey, you should check out some of their newer stuff. I was given some links. The two links I was given, one of them immediately copyright blocked me and said, no, not in Japan, not available, don't even look at it, don't look at it, it's not coming up, don't look at it, no. And then this one was fine. So I'm assuming that we can watch this and review this without being blocked. If you're watching it, then that probably happened. Okay, so this is Asian Kung Fu Generation. I believe this is a new song. I can't read the kanji, which is the name of the song. The last one is ku, as in city, so something to do with a city, or I don't know. Anyway, here's Asian Kung Fu Generation with a song. Interesting. There's a lot of interesting creative choices in that as well. Straight off the bat, a lot to unpack on this one, but I would say the most obvious thing is, obviously this is an intensely emotional song. I mean, like I said, I can't really pretend to know 100% what's going on in this. I picked up little bits, but I'm not even going to try and take a stab at what it's about in total, because I think that whatever I'm guessing would probably be to sell it short. The imagery, everything, the feeling was clearly going for something deeper. So, as always, you know, you guys know how this works. If you've been following the channel for a while, I react to what I see. I base it on what I know about, you know, the industry here, and, you know, from personal experience with that kind of thing and with songwriting. However, when it comes to the artists and the songs themselves, you guys almost definitely can mine a much deeper well of knowledge than I have. So please get in the comments and school me on anything I didn't know, especially what this song's about. I'd love to know that. So I'm going to approach it, like I say, from what I know, talking about the song itself. Yeah, from the start you could tell it was the sort of usual Asian Kung Fu Generation thing. The guitars were a bit jangly, not too heavy, not too light. There was a slightly grungy feel to it. I think more so in this than most of their other ones. In fact, the whole sort of simple way it played out. I mean, I know there's lots of songs that have that sort of guitar sound, lots of songs that start from just vocal and guitar and then build up. There's lots of songs that even do this sort of thing of having a crescendo with a whole group of people singing in the background at the end. It's not the first time we've heard any of these things, and yet I did kind of get the feeling that they were doing it in a slightly more emotionally deep way, and it felt relatively original as well. The video referenced so many things from, like, say, early 90s and grungy videos. That even that imagery of someone sitting in a couch in a grungy room with it sort of moving with the camera and nothing else moving. I've seen that 2 or 3 times in other music videos as well. The imagery with the shoes as well. Obviously that was very poignant to this, but that's the sort of technique that we've seen before. You know, a missing object becomes connected with the owner, blah, 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 blah. Now, I wouldn't usually talk so much about the video and the imagery, but the reason I'm mentioning that is because I do think that that helped to underpin the fact that this was an emotional song. If I'd heard this as just as audio, I must admit it might have been harder to place exactly how deep this was supposed to be. And that is perhaps one of the slight issues, is because, like I say, audio on its own, it might not have had as much impact because it is relying on quite a stripped back, thin sound. You know, it has its punch when it needs to, and at the end you have that big vocal. But actually, credit where credit's due, the lead vocalist on his own, even without that group at the end, I think he was doing a great job, and I think he could have carried emotion on his own for this song. It was great having everyone come in at the end, but just what he was doing was already very good at accenting the verses and the choruses, and he was singing with a lot of feeling. He was punching it up a notch in the right places. I know those are all the things we'd expect singers to do anyway, but he was doing it nicely considering this was a very simple arrangement. It really was guitar, bass and drums in a very simple sense. The bass work and everything kind of followed along with that. The drums, I did like how they built up the intensity as well. I did feel that most of the expression of this song came from the mixture of the vocals and the drums, actually, because they seem to really show the intensity in the various areas more than anything else. I did have an interesting thing about that crescendo at the end. Now, as you guys might have noticed, I was mentioning it. I always say this about songs I like. I mean, I'm really into songwriting. I love all the facets of making music, but songwriting is, to me, that's the golden art. That's the central art. And I loved the chord progression. You guys know I talk about chord progressions a lot. I love the chord progression in this because it was based on something so simple, and yet at those little points like the pre-chorus, it knew how to slightly just sort of twist things away from the expected, just enough to build up a little bit of tension and emotion before bringing you into something simple. Now the reason I mention that is because the final crescendo was built around a 2-chord back and forth thing, which you would expect, because it's the payoff of the song, you'd expect that's why it's doing it. It's switching into a very comfortable place. You know, no more sort of, sort of winding up or playing with the emotional direction of the song. Just, okay, let's blast out on this final 2-chord thing. I must admit, though, that for something with so many people singing, and like I said, again, I don't want to judge the intensity that probably came with the emotional lyrics that I'm assuming were there. I felt the problem was there's 2 chords for the entire crescendo felt a little bit lacking. I was thinking either it could have been a 4-chord progression, following a similar mode, instead of going backwards and forwards between 1 2 1 2, 1 2 3 4, or even 1 2 1 and then a slightly higher note and then down, something like that. Or maybe just kept on doing the 1 2 1 2, but maybe somewhere towards the end of that big crescendo, having at least 1 chord thrown in that was slightly out, just to those things give perspective. This is a difficult one to explain if you're not already familiar with the concept, so I'll try and break it down. But by the way, on this channel in the coming few months, we're going to start doing some simple videos, which are going to be music theory, really simplified into sort of basic 1-minute videos, so I can help explain some of these theories to more casual listeners, because like I said, I want this to be as palatable to casual listeners as people who maybe already are songwriters and maybe know as much, if more than I do. But like I say, the issue when you go 1 2 with chords is that you can start to sound a bit stale if there's nothing to give perspective to it. Now, if there had been something like a string section in the back, I know that's a really obvious one to go for, but a string section sort of quiet in the back playing a more expanded version of what was going on with the guitars, then that would have given some balance, some perspective. If there'd been anything in the arrangement more than just a very simple vocal line and 1 chord, 2 chord, 1 chord, 2 chord, there would have been something to give a bit of balance. But instead, that ending, I must admit, felt a little bit weak. Surprising, suddenly the timbre of the song increases, and yet it doesn't have the emotional intensity or payoff of the first 2 choruses and everything that had happened earlier in the song. Simply, I think that comes down to writing. Having lots of people and suddenly the sound picking up isn't the same as writing more into the music. So, imagery-wise, great. And I love the way the imagery played out in the ending, how everyone sort of walked out in those shoes into the light, and then suddenly, bam, they're there with the singer performing with the singer. They become part of the song. That was great. I love the feel of the song. I love the way that the video matched it. I think that ending could have been more if it wasn't written. Simple was the way to go, but I think this was too simple a way to write that ending. That's just my feeling. Maybe with more listens I'll get more into it, but I did feel like when the ending came in, it was like, wow, here's the sound, and then immediately the impact drained away when the music didn't really do anything with all of those extra voices that had suddenly been joined in. So it's a good song. Definitely would be happy to listen to that again. I feel like it could have more emotional payoff at the end, but still it was delivered with a lot of emotion. It was delivered with a lot of feeling, skilled musicianship all around. A good example, as we always say, one of the good things with a band is a band who knows how to take something simple and do it in a way that it doesn't come off as lazy, but it comes off as having sort of a deliberate simplicity to it, which this did for the best part. Although, like I say, I'm sure some people would disagree, but I didn't think that final crescendo really was the payoff that the song deserved. So yeah, that's my feelings on this one. As always, though, like I say, there's 2 things to remember. One, you guys probably know a lot more about the artist than I do and the song, so school me on that front. And second of all, music is subjective to opinion. It doesn't matter what you know, opinion is opinion. So get in there, tell me what you think as well, and hopefully I'll be seeing you soon on my channel. But for now, ciao ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel. Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.